or anyone. I understand why, but hear me out. Uh, uh, Northern Plains the Northern Plains Council is an old organization in Montana. It was started in the 70s, and what the Northern Plains Council tries to do is bring together farmers and ranchers with people who are environmental or climate activists. What used to be called environmental, now a lot called climate. They are two groups that often find themselves to be at odds with each other, but they aren't really. Um, they genuinely have things in common, but they really struggle sometimes to talk to each other. So the Northern Plains was formed in order to try to bridge a lot of those gaps. They do other things, but their main focus is definitely how can we make the environment work for everybody in Montana, for, dryland farmers, ranchers, tourists, everything. And how do we make that work in a practical sense? I worked for the Northern Plains Resource Council for a long time. And what I would do is I would talk to Skylar from Seattle and about what we were trying to get people in Montana to understand, to vote for, sometimes just not to oppose. And then I would go talk to Len up in Glasgow, Montana, not Scotland. Uh, and I kind of acted as an interpreter because a lot of times, and they have a lot of people who do this, who have moved enough in the world of what I'm going to call left wing organization. I don't know how much I love that term, but it's the only one that's coming to mind. Who moved in that world and understand what the messaging looks like there, but are also from Montana, know how to talk to Montanans and how to frame stuff in a way that makes it clear that this is good for all of us. So they take a real grassroots look at how to make these things happen and how to make these things happen within a community. I got a lot of training there. I went to school legitimately for um, literature, and I learned a lot of rhetoric and theory and stuff like that. But I learned how to apply it on a political level working for the Northern Plains Resource Council, and a lot of how I know how to talk to people about political stuff based on the audience comes from my work out there, and it's really valuable. And I really, obviously, I care a lot about the agricultural heritage of Montana, and I know not a lot of people give a shit about that, and that's just something I have to live with. The gentrification that has happened here is not emotionally and politically compelling to a lot of people, but it has sort of ruined my life. So, it's really important to me, and this is probably the most personal organization I have on the list is Northern Plains Resource Council.